There was a time when religious leaders and religious people in public life focused on issues of poverty, social issues, civil rights. You don't hear a lot of that anymore. It has become a narrow focus on abortion, homosexuality, things like that. Your family is probably the best example of that kind of religious calling put into politics. Is part of that why you wrote the book? To get that to make that
Yeah,
more
I
part
wrote
of
the book
America?
very much because I had grown up in this Catholic family. We were taught to care for justice, social justice, and the common good. We were taught that the Catholic Church was yearning for us to fight for the poor, the sick, the hungry, the thirsty, the immigrant, those who were the least well off, and that we had a responsibility to that. And now we see the churches only shouting about three narrow issues, and I think that's wrong. I think it's a misunderstanding of our religious traditions, and I think it's hurting our country because it's not helping us focus on how to build a social safety net for those who need help and have a sense of the common good. Well, I think that a number of the churches, by trying to use politics to force other people in a particular position, is very dangerous, and it's hurt them. We've seen this, for instance, with the Terry Schiavo case, when church leaders were calling for the federal government to get involved in the most personal decisions. There was a backlash.
You also sit on the Council of Foreign Relations.
Yes.
Obviously, we're in the midst of two wars actually right now. Do you think that the silence of the religious community on some of our foreign policy decisions, especially those that result in death, is part of the problem? Is that further evidence of what
Well,
you're
I think
reporting?
that there were a number of members. There were members of the religious community who did speak out against this war, but very many in the Christian right and even parts of the Catholic Church supported the war and didn't ask the right questions. And I think it's very important for the churches to take their religious values seriously and not be used as political pawns. And I fear that in this case they were. You're very smart to realize, to point that out, because what we need from our churches is to be prophetic voices, to stand back and say what could be better rather than just be used by the politicians.
What issues would you think, or would you like to see the religious community take a greater role in?
I would absolutely like the religious community to focus on the war, to make sure that we can leave Iraq. I think it's been a disaster there. I think we should focus on stopping the torture or trying to have torture in our own country. We now have a greater percentage of poverty for the first time in 33 years. I think our religious community can talk about that, and health care for all, the immigration. There are many, many challenges that we face in our nation about justice, how to create a just society. Where are they? Where are their voices now?